Okay, it's now time for our third presentation of the day, I believe. And we have two representatives who are going to represent IMAS, the Investment Management Association of Singapore, and they are Ms. Tricia Feng and Ms. Lai Xieling. Now, Tricia, she's the Chief Legal Counsel. She's the Chief Legal Counsel of Wealth and Asset Management Asia for Manulife Asset Management Singapore. Tricia is based in Singapore, and she oversees the legal teams responsible for supporting Manulife's Wealth and Asset Management's Asia businesses, and she also sits on the Asian Management Committee. Her next presenter will be Xieling, and Xieling is a partner with Allen & Gladhill LLP, and Xieling's principal area of practice covers investment funds, right, with retail offerings in Singapore being her area of specialty. So together, they'll present on this challenge from IMAS. It's called Automated Form Filling Workflow and Data Management for Asset Management. What an exciting name. I suspect it means it looks at how we can possibly automate the form filling processes for asset management firms in a more accurate and efficient manner. So please welcome Tricia and Xieling right now.
Hi.
Hi, Tricia, are you ready to start? Or will it be
Yeah,
Xieling
can you hear
starting?
me?
Okay. Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be starting. So thanks. I see you're sharing the slides. Can we move to who are we? And then the next slide would be, we are representing IMAS, which is the Investment Management Association of Singapore. IMAS is the national representative body of investment managers, and IMAS spearheads the development of the industry in Singapore by fostering high standards of professionalism amongst practitioners and also creating public awareness and interest in the fund management industry. So IMAS has been around for 24 years, and we have about 150 members, which cover 1.4 trillion in AUM. We also are very active and have more than 12 committees and working groups. Okay, moving on to the next slide, we actually take a very comprehensive and enlightened approach towards industry growth. As you can see, one, we work very actively with fintechs in order to enable disruption, enable digitalization, and incubate creative ideas. Two, we actually actively engage regulators. So we do initiate closed-door sessions with regulators and issue guidance relating to regulations. Three, of course, we organize industry discussions and to drive industry thought leadership. And last of all, but not least, we also organize networking opportunities for all members and anybody interested in asset management. So that's really how we drive and develop the asset management industry in Singapore. So Sherlyn and I represent the legal committee. We're very proud of the work that we do to support IMAS. And today we're here to throw a challenge to all the fintechs on the line here. Indeed, all fund managers need to file forms with the MAS in relation to the funds that they set up, and each form is about 20-something pages long. So we are throwing this challenge to all the fintechs here today to ask them how we can automate the form filling of how we can automate the form filing workflow and data management for asset managers in Singapore so that we can be more accurate and efficient. Over to you, Shirley.
Thanks, Tricia. Hi, everyone. So I'll be going through the problem statement and challenge with you in more detail. Basically, what we're looking for is really a system that can very quickly and accurately automate the form filing process for asset management firms. So this is a system that needs to reduce errors and improve efficiency. And just for background, so that you can understand how things work currently, MAS currently requires fund managers to file new forms for new funds, as well as update fund details for existing funds using the OIP system. So the OIP system is basically an online system maintained by the MAS, and updated forms for existing funds will need to be filed at least annually. But in practice, what we see in the market is that many managers file updates a few times a year due to very frequent updates made to the funds. So in summary, how it works is that updated forms currently need to be completed on the Opera system itself. And each fund has around 200 data fields. And examples of information that will be needed includes, for instance, like the fund size, the assets under management of the manager, sub-manager, the disciplinary and financial records, and even the information on custodian, etc. So there's really a whole lot of information that needs to be collated. And usually in practice, we understand this is sourced from different teams within the same organization. So the whole process is very cumbersome and inefficient. And in addition to this, the forms are currently all completed manually, and it takes around 20 to 30 minutes to complete each form. This makes it a very time-consuming process for fund managers, especially for fund managers with many funds. So what we see is that we have some managers with over 100 funds each. So you can imagine what a massive exercise this is each year, or it may occur even a few times a year. And because this process is manual and there's a lot of bulk and days-on work involved, there is actually a very significant risk of keying in wrong data or missing out important information. So for instance, due to human error, people may accidentally, for instance, key in data meant for one field onto another field, or miss out numbers in the numerical data provided. And this is what we do see in practice happening. And as a last step, after the forms are completed, the final PDF version of the form will need to be downloaded and then signed by the fund manager and then filed on Opera. So essentially, it's a two-step process of first completing the form manually and then getting the form signed and uploading on Opera. Moving on to the next slide. In terms of what we are looking for a solution that can automatically extract data to and from the Opera system into a structured format, and then afterwards automatically populating fields from the structured format onto the Opera system. So essentially, the solution will need to be a very seamless automated industry application. It needs to be very user-friendly, accurate, and efficient so as to reduce errors, as well as reduce the amount of time, energy, and cost currently spent on the form updating exercise. Additionally, the system developed will need to be a very secure one in terms of data protection so as to meet the security standards of the government. And in terms of testing, the prototype will need to be tested with at least one IMAS partner. And really the intent is for the system to be very widely used by potentially all IMAS members and across the whole asset management industry. Moving on to the next slide. Now, in terms of the possible use cases, I will give one possible use at my end, and Tricia will add on with another example. So as a possible use case, for example, hypothetically, we have a junior product exec in ABC Asset Management. Let's call her Serene. So ABC Asset Management is launching a new fund, and Serene needs to collate documents and input from various teams within the firm. And she must obtain data for 200 data fields in a form. And in addition to this, she has numerous other projects concurrently going on, and with multiple communication threads and emails, Serene has made some mistakes in the completion of form, and she needs to find a solution to automate the form filling process so she's able to fill out the whole form accurately and also as quickly as possible. Okay, so this is just one possible use case. Not too sure of giving another example based on her extensive experience on this.
Yes, thanks, Charlene. So the other use case that I'm going to talk about is Jane is a junior product executive in ABC Asset Management firm, and her responsibility is to ensure that the forms filed with the MAS for all of ABC's funds are updated at least once a year. So this ABC Asset Management is not a very big firm. It has 50 funds, but Jane has to complete 50 of these forms every year and validate the information that she puts inside. Of course, Jane has her own day job. Over above form filling, she needs to deal with the business and think of new product ideas, keep track of what new products are out there in the industry, and she really, really wishes that she could find a way to automate the completion of the 50 forms so that she can focus on her normal day job, rather than go through a manual form filling exercise of 50 forms every year. So I mean, just from the in-house perspective, I think this form filling is a real, it's something that a lot of fund managers struggle with. You know, fund managers don't hire people specifically for this form filling. So this form filling needs to land on, say, legal or product or some other department where somebody needs to act out the extra time to coordinate and collate all the data as well as fill the forms. So our design here is we think that form filling is sort of minus, but it's of course very important to MAS that this data is collected. So our challenge to the fintechs out there is really, can we find an industry utility or a solution that can save all the time spent on this by the financial industry and yet help MAS collect the data. On to the next slide. And then the question is, what's in it for you? So this will be a challenge where you will there's up to $20,000 prize money. You get to extend your network within the industry. So if you come up with a solution, your tool or utility will be of great interest to the whole asset management industry. Trust me, everybody sort of pulls out their hair when they think about this form filling. You will be able to showcase the solution at the IMAS digital event. You will be able to be fast-tracked into the Singapore FinTech Festival, and you will be able to become an IMAS FinTech Associate member and connect with the movers and shakers of the industry. So we hope that this will also incentivize everybody to think about a solution. All submissions must be made by the 19th of March, 4 p.m. So please, we encourage everybody to put in their ideas, put in their solutions. I, for one, as somebody who deals with these forms very often, will be very keen to see all the ideas and all the suggestions and all the innovation that we hope will be applied to this problem statement.
Okay, thank you very much there, Tricia and Shelling. I think this is a very painful actual business challenge, right? I think everybody understands the pain of filling multiple forms every time. So actually, it's fitting that our very first question from the floor comes from Shannon Huang. And Shannon is very curious about the volume, right? How many forms, how many PDF forms are both Form 1 and Form 2 are uploaded on the Opera and processed on a daily, monthly basis. And also, similarly, what about the volume of the updates for Form 1A and 1.2? Yeah. So what figures do you have to share? Yeah.
Maybe, Charlene, I'll take this one. As someone who has worked in a number of asset managers across the industry, right, you are looking at maybe 200 to 300 forms for the bigger firms like Schroders, like Aberdeen, like Lake Mason, and you are looking at maybe 10 to 20 forms for the smaller asset management firms. I think that's the minimum. So you would need, when you count how many forms need to be filed across the entire industry, all you need to do is to go into the MAS website, look at the list of funds that have been registered in the MAS website, and you do a count. And for each fund, the form actually needs to be done at least once a year. Then, of course, as fund managers, our products need to be adjusted and adapted, to make sure that we meet the needs of our investors. We need to make sure that our documentation is updated to meet regulatory requirements. So as and when the information in the form changes, which could happen 2 or 3 times a year, a fund manager will have to then relodge all the forms again. So let's say if ABC Asset Management is a fund manager that has 200 funds, and there are managers like that in the market, and I have to change my forms once just because I decided that I need to tweak my products, I have to change my form, I have to amend my forms again, because of a regulatory change, that I'm looking at least filing the form 600 times in 1 year. So that's kind of the sense we can throw to you out there. And again, the list of all funds registered in Singapore and require filing is on the MAS website. So you just need to go there and count. It's a lot.
Okay, so basically you have to check out the MAS website to guess the volume of the forms that are processed every day. Okay,
that will indicate the minimum volume,
okay.
Yes.
Minimum volume. Wow, okay. Sounds like a very big business opportunity. All right, we have a couple of similar questions about will they be able to get sample forms to process for their proposal?
I think yes, we have PDF versions of the HTML forms that are on the website that we can circulate. So we can get that to them after this call.
Yeah, I believe you can put it on the OIP forum, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so I'm going to consider that is answer. Yes, we will be sharing the sample forms. And a couple of more questions. Well, this is a very hot topic, I must say. All right. So I think Ashfaqi is asking, is data in PDF handwritten?
No, it's not handwritten.
It's not
Typed
handwritten.
in.
Okay. Typed in. Okay, it's typed in. So hope we answer that. So okay, James, you answer your question. Okay. Isaac James asks, for submissions, is there anything specific they're looking for? Course, concept, slides, demo. So what do you need to have in the submission? Yeah.
That's a difficult question to answer. We really don't want to constrain anybody. Neither do we want people to feel like they need to do something very extreme in order to put something through. So I'm afraid this may not be the answer you're looking for, but I would say do anything that you think is the best way to showcase your solution. Write up a document, film a video, do anything that you think is the best and way to showcase what you like to do. I think we're open to anything, to be honest.
Okay. So don't constrain yourself. If you have a very creative solution, do offer it as part of the challenge. Yeah. Okay. One anonymous attendee is asking, what are the sources of information? Is it only PDF, or how many formats of PDF and how many pages and so on? So what kind of documents do the tech solvers have to take into consideration besides PDF, or what kind of PDF? Yeah.
Maybe I'll take this one again. The form that is actually filled on the MAS website is a HTML in a HTML format. So when you finish completing the HTML format, which would be about 22 or 23 pages, I cannot remember actually. Once you finish inputting all the data, and it's about, I think, 200 data fields, then what happens would be you kind of crystallize that form and then you can print it out as a PDF. So I hope that helps them understand a little bit better how the form is completed on the MAS offer system.
Okay. And as for, I think, access to Opera, can anybody just sign up for Opera?
That is it. Go ahead, Shirley.
Yeah. Oh no, you need to have the access with the MAS in order to do it.
Okay, but I suppose
set
you'll
up
be
an
able to
account.
facilitate, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You can facilitate some sort of dummy account or something to show them the formatting for Opera.
We will work with the MAS to facilitate this if
Okay,
necessary.
I think this was a hot question. Okay,
Yeah.
so you work with MAS. Okay, can. So the IMAS team will help to facilitate access to Opera for you to test and feel, right? Okay.
Yeah, Billy, I will also say here that the more interest we see in this, the greater the opportunity that we will have to work with MAS to really have a very good beta testing environment. So the more people we see, submitting ideas and submitting solutions, the better I think in terms of the beta environment to be created for testing, that will the level of interest will just sort of help us get a much better response on creating a beta environment.
Okay. So you heard that, audience. Please, if you have a solution that can possibly solve this conundrum, right, please send in as much as you can. Even if you have multiple proposals, do say anything. I believe I can sense the pain of the two ladies, right? This multiple form filling, thousands of forms a year. It sounds very, very scary. So I hope you, the tech solver community, have the right tools, right, to help them overcome this form filling conundrum. Yeah. So I believe we have reached the end of the slot for the IMAS presentation. So thank you very much, Tricia and Shelling. Thank you for sharing. And again, we'll follow up with, you can follow up with more questions on the OIP website, the forum related to this challenge from IMAS. Thank you.
Thanks, Billy.